Is 200,000 of Flare's native token called FLR good enough for me? Now, even though I can't speak on anyone's behalf, the way I take a look at it is that, again, even though I'm not a financial advisor, it doesn't seem too bad because if, let's say, FLR were to go to the price of 50 cents during this run, which is my price target for it, at that point, 200,000 FLR would hypothetically be worth $100,000. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, 100,000, it's not that much. Take a look at the prices of homes. They're very expensive. I get it. Prices of homes, as of right now, are indeed very expensive. However, the way to take a look at it is this. First of all, virtually every single person I know that holds FLR, they're not only just holding that. Now, I can't speak on everyone's behalf. These are just the people I know. But the way to take a look at it is that in a lot of cases, again, it's just one of the components of their portfolio. In some other cases, it's one of their main components. But again, usually, it's just one of their components. So let's say I have a very well-diversified portfolio, and let's say somewhere along there I have 200,000 FLR. And let's say during a fully fledged bull run, it were to go to the price of 50 cents again FLR. And let's say one of the components of that hypothetical portfolio became $100,000. I don't think it's too bad, especially if I'm holding other projects too. And let's say they hypothetically were to do well as well. So I don't think it's too bad. Not to mention, I think $100,000 is a pretty decent down payment for a good home. Not to mention as well, I know some people personally with less than $50,000 and in some other cases around $50,000. Even with that, they were able to travel the world for around 2 years, have a good experience, meet new people, and just overall have a good time. Now, it's not like they were living in a 5-star hotel or 5-star restaurants or anything. I'm saying in terms of dining out and stuff like that. It's not like they were doing that, but then still they were able to travel the world and gain new experiences. So the way you take a look at it is that it doesn't seem too bad to me, at least. Now, again, it's very subjective though, because it's going to depend on each person's, lifestyle, what they're looking for on a case-by-case basis. I'm totally aware of that. But personally, for me, I don't view it as too bad. Now, even besides that, why is 50 cents not too much when it comes to FLR? It's because the way you take a look at it is that Flare, it's a very amazing project. After all, Flare is the blockchain for data. And the amazing thing about it is that there's actually 2 data acquisition protocols when it comes to Flare. Now, the first is something called FTSO, which stands for Flare Time Series Oracle, and the second is the data connector. Now, let me explain FTSO because some people may think, it's a little bit gimmicky, but it's not, because FTSO, Flare Time Series Oracle. Now, why is an oracle so amazing? It's because an oracle, by nature, it's basically a data feed that brings data from off the chain, aka off-chain data, and brings that data over into the blockchain. The reason why this is very necessary is because what this does is that it allows decentralized applications to function properly. So it's something very crucial. And I do like this when it comes to Flare. Not to mention, we take a look at the data connector. This is for trustless data proofs. It's a little bit more boring than FTSO, but it's still important nonetheless because allegedly this enables information from other blockchains and the internet to be used on Flare. Not to mention as well, when it comes to Flare, it does provide developers with decentralized access to data from other chains and the internet. Not to mention, it's an EVM. Now, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine, but besides that, again, it's an EVM smart contract platform, again, with 2 data acquisition protocols, FTSO, and as well as the data connector, which I've already explained before. So really, when I take a look at Flare, it's a very simple and easy to understand project, not overly complicated, and I do like that. Now, why is 50 cents not too much to ask for when it comes to FLR? It's because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $31.5 billion. So basically very close to 30 billion, but even besides that, it's around a 31x from here, or should I say for simplicity's sake, around a 30x from here. This is not too crazy. Take a look at Dogecoin reaching over $80 billion in market cap back in 2021. Take a look at Shiba Inu reaching around 40 billion that year. Back in 2021, during the peak of that bull run, there was roughly around 300 million crypto owners. Whereas we fast forward to today, according to Crypto.com research, there's over 600 million crypto owners. That's more than ever before in history. So with the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, with the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, and also with the amount of crypto owners, is the most recent hypothetical peak that we saw when it comes to cryptocurrencies in general, the actual top for this bull run? I highly doubt that. I could be wrong though, but the way to take a look at it is that I highly doubt that because I think better days are ahead. And even historically speaking, altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. The last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year, so 18 months from then would actually mean around October this year. It's not a guaranteed date. History isn't necessarily always going to repeat itself, and each cycle is going to have a different sentiment, different factors. But I'm still going to pay attention to that nonetheless, because I believe that, again, the board is far from over. However, only time will tell. But in the meantime, I'm still going to be accumulating more FLR, holding and just waiting, because the way to take a look at it is that 200,000 FLR, I think it's good enough for me, even though that's not financial advice. However, if, let's say, I could accumulate more, why not? This is just the way to take a look at it. I'm not telling anyone to buy FLR, by the way. This is just my perspective. But again, 50 cents during this one wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Malik the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.